All right, Maya's the boss. All right, shall we?
Go ahead.
Do it. Go, go, go.
Excuse me, Penny. All right, welcome everybody. Welcome back to Mice in the Attic. I am your host, Alex Carle, and this is the show where we introduce you to new and up-and-coming musicians by streaming their performances live from the attic of Tonal Vision Studios here in Baltimore, Maryland. As always, I encourage you to like and share this video. That helps us out. And please feel free to comment and ask questions in the comment section below, and I'll get them over to the artist today. Today we have The Meantime, an acoustic singer-songwriter duo who just released a brand new single. Why don't you come on in? Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Good to have you.
Good to see you, man.
Good to have you. So I don't want to take up any more time, so why don't you introduce yourselves to everybody at home and tell us a little bit about this first song that you're going to play.
Hi, I'm Ashley,
Hi, I'm Chris.
and this first song that we're going to play for you is called City Underground, and it comes out today, so you can hear it now, and then you can hear it later. Woo! And we actually wrote this song telepathically. We'll tell you a little bit more about that later.
Ooh, interested to hear about it. Everybody enjoy City Underground by The Meantime.
1, 2, 3, 4.
She thinks that there's a city underground. Well, get dressed up and take the elevator down, down. And even though she's scared to leave the house, she doesn't mind not knowing where she's going when she's finally going out. He takes a cab to Cemetery Park. And as he walks, he hears a friendly bark, bark. And if he could have, then it would have stopped his heart. To see his Labradors and tabbies all so happy, they're enough to fill an ark. Whether you're going up or going down, or someplace new altogether, don't you worry about going then. If you're not going now, while we are living, don't you think that we better make the most of it? Her world spins with her in her favorite dress, laying all her hopes and fears to rest. She breezes right past every other guest, 'cause it doesn't matter how they're doing when she's viewing him. She wants to look the best. Finds a seat just as the movie starts, but as it plays, he thinks he's seen this part. Though the film is long and tugs the viewer's hearts, everybody knows once the credits roll that they'll all go outside and meet the stars. Whether you're going up or going down, or someplace new altogether, don't you worry about going then. If you're not going now, while we are living, don't you think that we better make the most of it? The hourglass will count the time she spends, so he can introduce her to all his old new friends. Oh, the when and where and how we cannot comprehend, whether it's ghostly white or a blinding light or another life, or if you just die, there's no reason why it has to be the end. Whether you're going up or going down, or someplace new altogether, don't you worry about going then. If you're not going now, while we are living, don't you think that we better make the most of it? Whether you're going up or going down, or someplace new altogether, don't you worry about going then. If you're not going now, while we are living, don't you think that we better make the most of it?
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
congratulations
Thank you
on its
very
new
much.
release this morning.
Thank you.
Fantastic. That is a great way to start. So, you say you wrote that song telepathically. I have to know
Yes.
what that means.
So I was driving by a huge cemetery, and I just got this crazy thought, and it turned into this weird melody of like, oh, she thinks that there's a city underground, and this weird, whimsical, like Tim Burton-esque, dark, funny thing. And I called Chris the moment I was like, I have a song, I have an idea, I've got the first verse, and I've got a melody. He's like, oh, I got a chord progression. And
I was sitting on the couch just playing, and I was just strumming that.
so he sent it to me,
Yeah.
and not only was it perfect for the verse, it was the same key that I was singing it in,
Oh,
like without there
weird.
being any.
Yeah.
So I think that song came together in like 36 hours,
Yeah. Yeah. That
something
was,
like that.
yeah. Pretty much top to
Fantastic.
bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was the writing and recording process like for you two? I mean, I know that you already had a chord progression that you liked and the key that you liked. So, what was it like from there on?
I think because you just had the first verse, right?
Yeah.
And then I think from there we kind of figured out what the story of the song was going to be and who the two characters were and what that was going to look like. And then after that, it was just kind of like, well, we're going to need a chorus.
And I was pretty bent on it not being a happy song. Clearly, I lost that argument because it's a story about somebody who's alive and somebody who's not. And it started out kind of dark and mysterious, and we just decided like, hey, you should just make the most of what you got, no matter where you are. And it's a pretty fantastical thought anyway. So we battled. He won this one, and it's a happy song. And then from there, it came together so quickly. From there, it was just like a really quick call to the recording studio. Like, we got to get this done now. Text Evan. Like, thank you, Evan.
Hey, shout out to Evan Kornblum, who was on our show a few episodes ago with Pocket Bells. So just a little consistency
Absolutely.
Yeah.
there. So aside from your event, which was driving past the cemetery, are the characters or events in this song based on anything in real life, or is this entirely just sort of like this story?
I think this story is just a work of fiction. I think it's just like
Yeah.
a really fun little story.
Drawn from stuff that everybody experiences. Like, if you've ever lost a pet, how cool would it be? Like, you're on the other side and you're like, oh, there they are, all of them, and I don't have to feed any of them. So just things that everybody goes through, and we just wove them together and like to make two cute little stories in one big cute story.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you released it this morning.
Yep.
So
Yes.
where can we find it?
You can find it everywhere that you get music. iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, CD Baby, YouTube, all of it.
You know, I absolutely love the album cover.
Thank you.
Too.
Oh,
Who
thanks.
did that? Did either of you draw that?
No.
No.
That was Scott Siskind.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
Scott
shout out to
Siskind.
Scott Siskind. Great album cover that
Absolutely.
you did there.
Yeah,
He
he's-
did a killer job.
he's
It was
incredible.
Perfect.
And I
Yeah.
assume you'll see it when it's on Spotify and
Oh,
all
yeah.
that. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you check it out on Spotify, great album art too.
Thank you.
Now, what are you planning to do with this single? Is this just a standalone tune, or do you think that you'll maybe incorporate this into a larger EP or album?
I think this is probably going to be the part of a larger album someplace down the road.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's one of those songs where we were just like, this is just kind of too good to just sit on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I like that. I like that you had this song and you were just ready to record it right off the gate. It didn't need to be with any other song.
Yeah.
As we could tell, and it's a great standalone tune. So
Thank
it's really
you.
fantastic.
Very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, tell me a little bit about the recording process. Where did you do all that?
Where I work at Stages Music Arts, and actually we recorded it in the middle of the night,
Yeah.
which is actually a really great time to be creative, no distractions. So we just popped in the studio one night around 8, 9 o'clock, brought in a really good friend of ours, Matt Everhart, who played upright bass and then did an electric bass solo, and then just tracked it. I think rhythm section did live, and then I came in, did some vocals, and I think that was it.
I did.
Well, you did a bunch of percussion. Oh yeah, right. That was so fast, I forgot about it.
So you
This
just
man is
knocked the whole
ridiculous
thing
with
out in a
Mike
single
Baker.
night,
Yep,
though.
one single
Yeah,
night.
just done.
Maybe, what was it, like 5 hours maybe?
Roughly, yeah. I think the mixing process was a lot longer than the tracking, obviously. Evan was really detailed, and we had a lot of different things that we wanted to hear, and we were playing around with it a lot. And so I think it may be like a week after that, but still, all together, very quick.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, sometimes the good stuff just comes out really quick like that, right?
Yeah, totally.
So how long after writing it did you record it?
Ooh, man.
Or finish writing it, I should say.
Not very long at all.
No.
Maybe like less than a month, maybe?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
seriously?
about a month, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so this song just needed to come out, though.
Oh,
huh?
yeah, totally.
Yeah, it really wears on the voice if you have to sing it all the time to hear yourself. So,
Sure.
Yeah, no, this one was yeah, we pretty much were like, yeah, we got to put this one down.
Fantastic. Well,
Totally.
Congratulations again
Thank
on
you so
releasing
much.
your new
Thank
single.
you.
Sounds fantastic.
Thank you.
Everybody at home, I encourage you to go on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you find your music, and check out City Underground by The Meantime. It's a really fantastic tune, as you just heard. So, why don't you tell me a little bit about this next song that you're going to play?
Okay, this next song is called The Wind. And we wrote this song not terribly long ago. And I think this is, and Ashley can speak to this, but this is just kind of that feeling about, the wind can be a lot of different things. It can be a gentle thing, it can be a destructive thing. So this is kind of our take on that.
Very cool. Everybody enjoy The Wind by The Meantime.
Changing green to golden to gray. They floated till the wind laid them down. Heavy on the rain-soaked ground. Inside as the last one brown. Who can love the wind? The wind in the street was too much for them. They shuttered their windows and hazed. Still they pressed to their doors to feel as it rattled the frame. They waited there until the town grew distant, lost within the sound that echoed through this hollow town. Who can love the wind? A change in the breeze, almost invisible, is ripping through attic and eaves. In a cry, light in the sun, and pray we're still here when it leaves.
absolutely beautiful. So tell me a little bit about that song.
That song, oof, that has a history.
Yeah.
That one took a lot longer to write.
Yeah.
That one took a lot longer to write. We got it. There's a lot of imagery in that song. We wanted to make sure that we kind of got all those little vignettes just kind of perfect.
Sure.
And that third verse was kind of multiple choice.
For a minute.
For a really long time.
But I mean, all of those, like every verse is another story that I think you could easily feel as a person. Like if you've ever loved somebody and it hasn't worked out and you feel like you've wronged them, even with your best intentions, you maybe were just too much for them or were just wrong for them. And that's a really heavy feeling. And then just trying to deal with that within yourself is like, if you're too much for people, or if you're overwhelming or too busy, or if you feel like you're inherently destructive. And then in the end, it's sort of like, okay, well, it's still beautiful. It's just doing what it does naturally. And we have to remember that too, that no matter how we feel and no matter how heavy that weight feels of like how much we are from day to day, like we're still beautiful. So
could we call that almost a message of acceptance, or acceptance being a theme in that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Because I hear a lot of accepting of the self, right? Who can love the wind?
Yeah.
Right.
Asks the wind.
Yeah.
Right,
That's
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely, yeah.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Thank you.
So tell me about the meantime. How did the band form, and what are your musical histories, respectively, before the band?
Okay, well, before the band, I've been playing in bands my whole life, since I was in high school. Just kind of doing everything from like progressive rock to chamber folk music with, a classical bent to it, and everything in between. So I've been doing that for a while, and I am also a drummer. I actually play with Pocket Bells that you guys mentioned earlier, and I've played with bands, throughout, my time playing music, and in recent years, probably in the last 10 years maybe, I've picked up the guitar and tried to really start, being able to write my own stuff, and just it never really was happening on its own. It kind of needed, other, as a drummer, that's kind of your status quo. A drummer needs a band.
Sure.
So yeah, and then I met Ashley. We were playing a wedding gig together.
On the face of the sun.
Yeah, it was the hottest gig.
So hot.
It was an outside wedding, and it was just 1,000 degrees. And after the gig, or during the gig, I forget when, at some point, I asked if she wanted to, maybe write some music together, if she had any original music, and if she wanted to write. And that's kind of how it got started from there.
Yeah, and I mean, I said no in the way that you say no when you don't want to say no. When you're like, yeah, let me know your availability over the next few weeks. We'll get together. Like, I was one let's have coffee away. This is totally out of my comfort zone.
It's amazing. That's what happened with me and my wife.
At which point I said, okay, cool, how's Thursday?
Yeah, right. And it was all just sort of history from there. I mean, I hadn't been in any original bands before that. Actually, I'm a classically trained soprano by trade, and a voice teacher and the program director at Stages Music Arts. I grew up entirely classical and theatrical. And everything very planned out, very scripted, and just never really felt my whole heart in that. I wanted to do other things too. And I was, I'd sit in the basement and play little songs for my loving husband, God bless him. And he'd be like, you should share that with someone. And I'd say no. And then, so I was really out of my comfort zone, but Chris is super awesome and really supportive. So I was like, let's try it. And I showed him a song and he dug it. And then we just, you wake up 6 months later and you have a single and you're working on another one. And it's really cool.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, what was that first single?
Shot in the Dark.
Shot in the Dark.
Yes, which we're going to do next, right? Am I right?
Perfect segue, just as I had planned.
Woo!
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about A Shot in the Dark?
This song, this was the first song that we ever wrote together, and it started out as a piano song.
Sure did.
And it kind of became not that.
At all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a pretty personal story, but pretty relatable, I think. It's just a story of dealing with addiction.
Okay.
And it actually was a gift to somebody really close to us, and we were just going to make it as a Christmas gift, and we got to the end of it, and we recorded it, and we're like, actually, it's really nice. I really like it. So I had to go to that person. I'm like, hey, do you mind if I... And they were super cool, because they're the best person ever.
So did you end up getting that person a gift?
No.
Oh,
No. Of course not. No.
right to the heart.
It's fine. We got a pretty song. It works. No, we did.
Got a gift
But we
forever.
didn't release it for a full month after. We had
Wow.
given it to them as a Christmas present.
Gotcha. Oh, well, it still totally counts then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally counts. That's what I said. But I continue to say.
Everybody at home agrees with you. Right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, everybody enjoy A Shot in the Dark by the meantime.
Standing backstage in some tights I refused to wear, till I saw yours and said, "Won't you?" In your shadow, I know right in there. Spotlights were fixed, but I was cut out for row 33, throwing roses, and you were a work of art. For you, fairy number 6, it was a short thing, but for me, it was a shot in the dark. You kicked up dust on the walk home and breathed in too deep. Some got stuck inside, so I got used to the swing and slam. You're here and gone again, too thin to hold, but awake enough to lie. So I shook up that A-ball till it said yes, and I asked if you would stay for my part. You said yes, it was a sure thing, but you knew. There were knives in the bedding, and the waking up sweating. When you had stayed, if you got your old room back, and I knew without knowing your resentment was growing, 'cause I didn't bear all the hurt you had. But at 9, I knew the world had teeth. You left behind a piece of you couldn't get. Some things you can't undo. When she takes to the lights, I'm caught frozen still. Because she moves like you, wants roots but her mind wanders. Her smile keeps changing colors. Oh, sometimes she's just like you. When I hold her, I swear you gave her your soul. 'Cause I know she's a work of art. In her first cry, I heard who I had to become, and I live now to safeguard her heart. To have made it through this, she's the best of us. If she stumbles, she won't fall too far. Oh, as long as I'm alive, I won't ever leave her side. No, you know, there's not even a shot in the dark. No, you know, there's not even a shot in the dark. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
I have chills. That's a fantastic first single for you two to have.
Thank you.
Really,
Thank
really
you.
cool. And it had me thinking back there. What are your inspirations? Who are your inspirations?
Oh, that's a pretty big list. But I think probably, at least for us, and in the way that we approach songwriting and the way that we kind of approach the way that we're doing this right now is Mr. Dave Wilcox.
Okay, sure.
I don't know if anybody here knows him. If you don't, you should check him out. He is the man. Him, and then just kind of that whole singer-songwriter thing.
Yeah.
We've been really, Sarah Bareilles, I know, is
Huge.
definitely a huge influence. There's a singer out of Nashville named Andy Gullahorn, who's a pretty
Love him.
big influence on us as well.
Ben Abraham.
Ben Abraham.
Ben Abraham.
Totally.
Mhm.
He's killing it right
We
now.
haven't done a lot of piano yet. We will, but like Sarah Bareilles, Regina Spektor, Ben Folds are all big three for me.
Okay, so I get the impression that you two share a lot of the same
Totally,
inspiration,
yeah.
Yeah.
which has got to make the fluidity of writing
Sure.
kind of
Yeah.
And
make that
and
easier.
then there's also that thing, where we'll both be like, "Have you ever heard of whatever it is?" And then just kind of just that sharing of just like, "Oh man, no, but that's a cool thing. How did they do that? Let's do that."
And it's like
Right.
this fun exercise that comes along. Like he'll send me something and I'll be like, "Oh, I really like that," and the next thing I write will sound kind of like
Yeah.
will be like infused with that, because I really like it. And it's a fun exercise to be like, I wonder what it would be like to walk like just for a moment in that songwriter's shoes. So like we bounce it back and forth, and I just send him show tunes. This would sound great in your voice. Please sing it. Like that's how it goes. So
I
yeah.
like it. I like it a lot. So when you're, I'm interested most, I think, right now in the show tunes. So like when we're talking about the show tunes that you send him, are these shows with a lighter or a darker feel to them a lot of time, or both? I mean, do you appreciate musicals of all kinds?
All kinds. The stuff that I send Chris is like the most tenor stuff. Because I just want to hear it in his voice. I might be the only person, I'm going to say this live, I might be the only person who is excited about the Cats movie.
If you are also excited for the Cats movie, please tell Ashley and keep it off of my page.
Well, it's either going to be tremendous or terrible. It's not going to be in between. And
No,
I
it's
mean,
not.
That's gonna be really cool. Really big into some newer stuff. Obviously, Dear Evan Hansen was a huge hit. I got to make it out to see Hadestown. I think they're obsessed with this new song. Well, it's not so new, but Barf Bag Breakup by Eli Bolen is amazing. So a lot of times I go for contemporary because you get to meet the composer. And I feel like
Sure.
that keeps music like alive and vibrant. You can meet them and say like, how did you want that to be sung? How did you hear that? So yeah.
It makes for a better connection between
Yeah,
the two.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
very cool. So we have time for one more song.
Cool.
Tell me a little bit about it.
This song is called Safe Harbor, and this one's got a pretty special place for us.
Yeah.
This song was this was a song that when we started writing it was completely different than where it ended up, and it kind of what do you think?
I mean, it was one perspective at first. It was one perspective of just somebody who's not totally satisfied. I had written a verse and sort of like a B section, and Chris was like, I'd like to hear another perspective. And his perspective was entirely different, and it was cool. And I was like, there's something to be said. Everybody talks about like the joy of love and how exciting it is and how thrilling it is, but it's hard work. It's really hard work. And so we ended up writing a song that, at least, like for me, is incredibly sincere and honest, and poignant perspective of two people who love each other very deeply and have to work together to find like that place that they can be like safe and grow together. It's just a way that I really wanted to like express like how I feel about the people I love, and yeah, so
Fantastic. And tell me the title one more time.
Safe Harbor.
Safe Harbor. Okay, everybody
Me
enjoy
too.
Safe Harbor by The Meantime. And I would just like to say before you two do your last song, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Absolutely,
It's been
thank you for
an
having
absolute
us.
joy having
This
you.
is great.
This is so cool.
Well, we couldn't do it without you. So everybody enjoy, and thanks again.
It's really pretty.
He rolls out of bed on Monday, feeds the dog and goes to work. Carries on his day like every other. More than steady, he's unmovable once he makes up his mind. Once he's settled, then it's settled. I discovered I don't mind 'cause I don't understand, and I wonder will I ever learn. While he sits there so content, I yearn. While he sits there so content.
She sleeps in late on Sunday if she happens to be home. But I know she could run and fly forever. She is strong, she is driven, even if sometimes to tears. Oh, regardless if we both get there together. Well, I don't mind, 'cause I can't understand. So I hold this fire in my hands while I sit and wait for her. She burns. Oh, she'll never be content, I've learned.
I yearn to sail away from all that I am. Let the currents guide my restless soul closer to finding the truth.
Higher, but I don't wanna be alone again. I've been searching for a safe harbor now. I found it, I know that it's her. She'll be here any minute after weeks away from home. I think she knows that I can't wait to see her.
Who pulls me from my wanderlust with a smile that says he knows that I can't stay away from you. I don't mind
But I understand,
that I don't need him to hold my hand.
and I don't mind,
I understand.
but I'll be waiting for her when she lands. While we're orbiting each other, we love. When we're finally together, we burn. When we're set adrift against the waves, we're closer to finding the truth. We learn that we don't have to be alone again. I've been searching for a safe harbor now. I found it, I know that it's you.
Fantastic. Well, I just want to say thank you again so much for coming on the show. This has been a real treat for us and for everybody at home. And are there any closing remarks that you'd like to make before we head out?
Thanks for tuning in.
Yes.
We really appreciate it. And we got some shows coming up.
Yes.
We have mostly in November, yeah?
No, we have a September 20th show at the
Oh,
Blue
right.
Beetle Rock Bar.
That's
September
true.
20th, Blue Beetle
Totally
Rock
didn't
Bar.
forget about that. September 20th at the Blue Beetle Rock Bar.
And now you know who does the scheduling. And if you can't wait till then, you can get Shot in the Dark and Now City Underground anywhere you get your music.
Absolutely.
All right, fantastic. Well, thanks again, and thanks to everybody tuning in at home. Feel free to join us in 2 weeks. That's August 29th for a brand new episode featuring the band Sonic Spell. So we will see you then, and have a great night, everybody. See you next time.
Good night.
Bye.